Somewhere I Belong, Chapter 7, Part 3. Well, just trust me and... Trust you? Why in the hell should I trust you? Isaac's eyes narrowed on the mayor. Why shouldn't you? You are staying in my house, the mayor said in a challenging voice. Let's go down the list. You threw me in a cage, borderline interrogated me, I fell to the ground from easily 500 feet in the fucking air, and to top it all off, I was almost raped this morning. Stop me if I missed anything, he said in a cold tone. Twilight immediately backed off and tried to find an argument, but found none. That's what I thought. I don't see how anyone like you could possibly have friends, she said in a cold tone. I had friends, Twilight. We were inseparable, thicker than blood, and despite everything we went through together, they still lied, cheated, and tore each other apart, he said as his anger peaked. So let me ask you this. How am I supposed to trust a bunch of anthropomorphized ponies when I couldn't trust the people I cared for the most? Twilight's mind drew a blank at the question. I figured as much, Isaac said as he got to his feet and walked towards the door. A tan unicorn stallion walked up to him, holding a clipboard. Excuse me, are you Isaac? The doctor asked. Yeah, how's Spitfire doing? Perfectly fine. She has a sprained wing and a bruised thigh muscle, the doctor said as he looked at the chart. She's awake and would like to see you. Why? She wouldn't say. Isaac let out a sigh and cracked his neck. Lead the way, Doc, Isaac said as he followed the pony in the white lab coat. Wait, I have to know something, Twilight said as she stood up and faced the human. How can you be a total jerk one minute and then sympathetic the next? Beats me. I'm only human, Isaac said as he followed the doctor, leaving the dumbfounded purple mare standing in the center of the lobby. Twilight looked towards the door to see that her other friends had arrived and hurried over to her. Twilight, how's Spitfire doing? Rainbow asked. She's fine, but we have a bigger issue that needs addressing, she said in a stern tone. Isaac opened the door to see the golden mare happily eating the hospital food the nurse had just dropped off. She smiled at him and quickly waved him in. Hey, she said as she swallowed her food. How are you feeling? Isaac asked as he sat down in a chair. A whole lot better, thanks to you. It was nothing. You saved my life. I owe you big time. You don't owe me a thing. Anyone else would have done the same for you, especially since you're famous, he said as he leaned back. That's the point. You didn't know who I was. Why did you save me? She asked as she tilted her head. I wasn't going to let an innocent pony drown in front of me. There has to be some other reason than that. Like? I don't know. You tell me. Why would you risk your life for a complete stranger? Spitfire asked as the door burst open to reveal 3 Pegasus ponies wearing a similar blue suit. The stallion in the center was light blue and had bright green eyes. Spitz, are you okay? He said as he ran over to the mare's side. Relax, Soren, I'm fine, thanks to Isaac here, she said as she pointed at the human who sat in the corner. Isaac gave a light wave at them. Who and what is he? The stallion asked. His name is Isaac, and he's a human. The stallion's eyes shrank. I heard rumors that a human was in Equestria. I just thought some pony was pulling a prank or something, he said as he looked at the human. What happened anyway? I was testing out a new trick and my wing cramped up. Next thing I know, Isaac is carrying me through a forest, she said with a smile. Your girlfriend landed in a pond in front of me. I got her out and brought her into town, he said as he got to his feet. Soren and the other Pegasi looked at the human in confusion. Girlfriend? Mare friend, whatever you call each other, Isaac said as he stretched. Spit isn't my mare friend. She's my boss, he said with a chuckle. Oh, sorry. I just assumed that. It's all right. We get that a lot, Spitfire said with a grin. Well, I see that Spitfire is in capable hands. I'll take my leave now, he said as he moved towards the door. Wait, you still didn't answer my question. Why did you save me? Spitfire said as she looked at the human. Isaac stopped moving and refused to turn around. You remind me of someone I used to know. Spitfire was about to comment, but Isaac had already left the room. The human looked in the lobby to see Twilight talking to the other 5 mares. He doubled back and went out the side exit. Isaac let out a sigh and put his pea-pot on and blasted a song that fit the mood. He made his way back to the library in silence. As he opened the door, he saw Spike with a green-collared shirt on and a new pair of slacks. Getting ready for your date? Yeah, thanks again for this. I can't believe she wants to go on a date with me, the dragon said with a smile. No problem, just remember to be yourself, and it'll be a breeze, Isaac said with a fake smile. Rarity is at the hospital with the others. Yeah, I heard you saved the Wonderbolt captain. I just brought her into town, that's it. I heard you brought her back to life, Spike said as he raised an eyebrow. So, I just did what anyone else would do. Isaac glanced at the clock and then back at the dragon. You should get going. It's almost 8 and Rarity will probably be back any minute. Oh man, you're right. See you later, Isaac, he said as he ran out the door. Isaac walked up the stairs and laid on his bed. He stared up at the ceiling until he felt sleep take him. Back at the hospital, Twilight had just finished telling the others about her conversation with Isaac. That pretty much sums it up. He doesn't trust us? Applejack asked in a sad tone. Well, considering what he's been through, it's understandable. Imagine if you were in his position, Twilight said in a sympathetic tone. I still can't believe those two would try to do something so uncouth, Rarity said in a stern tone. They were in heat and hadn't hidden in a few months, Rainbow said with a shrug. That's still no excuse. Where's Isaac, anyway? Fluttershy asked. He went to see Spitfire a while ago and hasn't come back out yet, Twilight said as she looked at the 3 Wonderbolts walking into the lobby. Rainbow walked up to the blue stallion with a worried look on her face. How's Spitfire doing? She's going to be fine, just a sprained wing, he said with a smile. That's good. Rainbow looked over his shoulder to see the other 2 Wonderbolts. Where's Isaac? The human? He left like an hour ago, Soren said as he walked past the group of mares. Twilight walked up to the nearby nurse with a determined look in her eye. Excuse me, Nurse Redheart, could I ask you something? Sure. Have you seen Isaac? Oh, the human? He left through the side exit around an hour ago, she said as she turned back to her chart. Twilight looked at the group of mares with a confused look on her face. The nurse said he left an hour ago. The mares looked at her in surprise. Rarity looked behind her to see Spike walking through the door. Oh, Spike, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot about our date, she said as she face-palmed. It's fine. Isaac said you guys were here. The mares stared at him in surprise. You know where he is? Yeah, I just saw him at the library. The 5 mares quickly ran past the dragon and out back towards the town. What's up with them? He asked as he looked at the white mare. I'll tell you over dinner, she said as she wrapped her hand around Spike's, causing the purple dragon to blush. The 2 walked out of the hospital with smiles on their faces. Isaac was standing in the bathroom, looking himself over, and noticed that a small layer of hair had started to grow around his face. He reached into his pocket and withdrew a small bottle that Aloe and Lotus had given him. The concoction felt similar to shaving cream. He felt the hairs on his face stand at attention. He lifted his knife to his face and slowly moved it across his flesh. Isaac, stop! He looked over to see 5 mares running towards him. He felt the knife being ripped out of his hands by a purple aura. We know you're sad, but suicide isn't the answer, Twilight yelled. Suicide? I wasn't killing myself, he said in confusion. Then why were you holding your knife to your throat? Applejack asked, trying to hold back tears. I was shaving, see? He said as he pointed to a bald patch on his face. What? Human males grow hair on their faces. Some can grow a full beard, while others like to shave it off, he said as Twilight levitated the knife back to him. Watch, he said as he pressed the knife against his skin and moved the blade down his face, cutting the hair off his face. See? Doesn't that hurt? Pinky asked. No, it's like getting a haircut. You just have to have a steady grip, he said as he continued. Why did you guys think I would try to kill myself? You seemed really sad, and Twilight told us about your conversation at the hospital, Rainbow said. I figured that's what you guys were talking about, he said as he washed the blade in the sink. You saw us? Twilight said in surprise. Why didn't you use the normal exit? I didn't want to get in another argument, and you made your opinion about me quite clear, he said in a flat tone. Twilight lowered her head in sadness. I just wanted to shave before I left. Where were you going? Twilight asked. I was planning on slipping out before you got back, but now that plan is ruined, he said as he wiped the cream off his face. The mares looked at him in surprise. I came here to apologize for my comment. I guess I didn't realize how much stress you were under, she said in a sad tone. Isaac looked at the mare with a raised eyebrow. It's not your fault. I admit that I have trust issues. Why is that, if you don't mind me asking? Fluttershy asked in a timid voice. The last friend I had stabbed me in the back, literally, he said as he turned around and lifted his shirt, revealing the small scar on his right shoulder. He heard a collective gasp come from the group of mares. What happened? Rainbow asked as she felt the scar. We got in a fight and he pulled a knife on me. I tried to calm him down and he stabbed me, he said in a low tone. What about the bigger one? That was intentional. Tattoo removal is really painful. What's a tattoo? Pinky asked. Think of it as an artificial cutie mark. Humans can get art done on their bodies by drawing below the skin layer. Once it's done, the skin heals and the image is permanent. Well, almost permanent, he said as he pulled his shirt back down. How did you remove something like that? Applejack asked. Either pay thousands of dollars for surgery, or just do what I did and burn it off. The ponies cringed back in disgust. It would have hurt either way. My method was quick and cheap. Why did you want to burn it off? Twilight asked. It was part of my life I wanted to forget, he said in a low tone. Twilight went forward and hugged the human. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have pestered you about it, she said as tears began to pool in her eyes. It's fine, he said in a forgiving tone. The other mares joined the hug and smiled at him. Isaac rolled his eyes and let out a sigh. Sorry for making you guys worry, he said as he broke the hug. The mares looked back at him and smiled. Look, it's been a long day. How about we just calm down and sweep this under the rug? The mares gave him a smile and let go of him. The 4 mares nodded and walked out of the library. Rainbow stopped at the door and turned to face the human. Hey, can I ask you a question? Sure, he said with a shrug. Did your friend really try to kill you? No, it was a stupid fight that got taken over the edge, the human said in a low tone. Was he your only friend? She asked in a saddened tone. No, I had many friends. Once. Isaac said in a low tone. What happened to them? They leave. Because they should, or they find someone else. And some of them forget me, he said in a low tone. I suppose in the end, they break my heart. Rainbow looked back at him in confusion. All in the past now. What will you do when you go back? To be honest, when is starting to turn into an if. What? If Celestia can't find anything, I'll probably have to stay here. Rainbow felt her heartbeat rise at the thought of the man staying with her. Well, if that happens, then you can always crash at my place. I've had enough crashing for a while, thank you very much, he said in a stern tone. No, I meant that, Isaac let out a laugh and put a hand on her shoulder. I'm just kidding, Dash. I know what you meant, and thanks for the offer. Ha ha, I'll see you tomorrow, she said with a smile. Isaac nodded and went back inside the massive hollowed-out tree. He sat down on the couch and reopened the Daring Do book he had at the hospital. After he got through 3 chapters, the door opened to reveal a pale-faced Spike. Hey, Spike, how'd the date go? It went awesome. How so? We went out to dinner at a fancy restaurant, went for a walk in the park, and I walked her home, he said as he sat down. Cool. Anything else? Spike looked around the room to see if Twilight was around. He motioned for the human to come closer. I kissed her goodnight, and we're going out again next week, he said with a laugh. Spike, I request the highest of 5s, Isaac said as he raised his right hand. The dragon slapped it with a deafening force. Hell yeah, he said as he rubbed his hand in pain. Ow. Sorry, blame the scales. It's fine. Thanks again, man, he said as he patted the human on the back. For what? The whole date thing. If it wasn't for you, then I wouldn't have gone out with Rarity. You did that on your own. I just gave you a shove. It's what a wingman does, Isaac said as he put his hands behind his head. What's a wingman? The dragon said in confusion. A wingman is a person, or pony in this case, that helps a friend get some pony to like them in a romantic way. Oh, thanks again, he said as he walked upstairs. Anytime, Isaac said with a wave. Isaac pulled the feather Rainbow had given him out of the book and examined it. Why would she give me this? This must have a deeper meaning than just a bargaining chip. Don't know. I'll worry about it later, he thought as he slipped the feather into his pocket. Isaac made his way up to his room and laid down to rest. Outside of the small town, a strange blue box had appeared out of nowhere and was making an odd noise. The box was tall and had the words Police Box written on the borders. A tan earth pony stallion in a suit with a bow tie around his neck stepped out of the box and looked around. Oh, I'm back here again. Brilliant. He pulled out a small metal wand with a green tip and pointed it at the box. The light on the top flashed twice, and it slowly faded. Right, now to find Ditzy, he said as he hurried towards the town. Applejack kicked the dirt with her boot and let out a long sigh as she walked past the entrance sign to Sweet Apple Acres. Her mind was flashing with images of the human. She lightly tapped her head in frustration. Shut up, brain. He's a completely different species than I am, and he has to go back where he belongs, far away from me. A small tear rolled from her eye. She quickly wiped her tears away as her cyan friend landed next to her. Howdy, Rainbow, what's up? Nothing, I'm just happy. Why? Isaac might stay, she said with a smile. Applejack couldn't help but smile. Really? Yeah, if he can't find a way home, he said he'd stay. The orange mare's smile vanished, and she stared back at the Pegasus. What? That implies that Celestia doesn't find a way to send him home, she said as her eyes narrowed. Yeah, but it means that he's considered the thought of staying. All we have to do is show him how good it is here, and he won't want to leave. Applejack's jaw dropped at the information. How in the hell are we going to do that? He told me about his planet, and it sounds spectacular. How can we compete with that? Applejack asked in annoyance. I don't know, but we better think of something if we want him to stay. Wait a second. Why do you want him to stay? Applejack asked as she eyed the cyan mare. Rainbow blushed at the question. He's fun to hang out with. I think it's more than that. Well, why do you want him to stay? Applejack instantly recoiled. He's a good friend is all. Right. It has nothing to do with the kiss you two had. No, it was a dare, that's it, she said with a bright blush on her face. Sure it was. I've seen how you look at him. I can say the same about you, the orange mare said in a stern tone. Dash immediately backed off. Let's just focus on trying to get him to stay here, Rainbow said, trying to calm her friend down. And I think I got a good idea on how to do that, she said with a sly smirk.